missing someone. Love with all your heart. Missing someone. Love with heart.
What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. So this week I'm going to show you a transformation on this client. She's been coming to me for a few years now and she has definitely grown out her hair completely and she's pretty much ready for a brand new color. So in the past we've done like a version of like chunky underlights or like coloring of like color blocking on her. So today we're going to do something completely different. She wanted to go more of like an ashy brown. So we're going to do a full transformation to get her blonde. So I will be using the Blonde Me Schwarzkopf lightener, and I mixed up a first bowl of 6 and 20 to start off with, and then after that I'm just going to be using 20 volume for the rest of the head. So for her balayage technique, I'm going to be detailing the hairline, what I normally do. I usually will do a weave right around the hairline, anything that is pretty much just gonna frame everything. If she puts her hair up, this is gonna give her a really soft blend. I don't like to do slices around the hairline unless I'm doing like a money piece, because sometimes you can see really harsh lines, especially if they put their hair up. So I always like to weave around the hairline in the back and above the ears. So since this is her first session going lighter from completely grown out virgin hair, this first session she will be more dimensional, and then obviously maybe next time when she comes in for a touch-up we could definitely go for something that's more solid on the ends, or we could keep the more dimensional look. That's totally up to her, but since we're working with hair that has no blonde on the ends, everything is pretty much all her natural dark hair color, we are going to work on just lightening and breaking this all up, so it will be more on the dimensional side once we're finished. So after I do about 2 weaves around the hairline, now I'm just going in and pretty much going to slice the rest of the head. So in the back, I like to take this back section after I detail the hairline all in one go. So I'll take the center part of the back section and pretty much just slice up the head and mohawk all the way up to the front money piece area. So our starting level, I would say she's like a level 3, which is like a dark brown, and her goal is to be a light ashy brown and to really have those like ash tones really pop. You've got to lift the hair to at least like a blonde level 8 or 9, and then drop down the level with the toner to create those beautiful ash tones. So essentially, even though we are going to be doing more of like a brown tone, we are going to lift her to blonde. Now, generally for all of my clients who have darker hair, I always like to lift them past like a level 7, where you typically see a lot of copper tones and tones that are just like more orange, because when the toner fades, if you aren't lifted past like those level 7 or past those coppery orange tones, then when the toner fades in about 6 to 8 weeks, it will fade really brassy. So regardless of any color that I will do on my clients, I typically will like to lift them a little bit past that level 7 or something in the 7 to 8 level if they're looking to do something more neutral. But of course, if they're doing something that's more on the darker or have any type of red tones or orange tones, then I would keep them on the lower end of the levels, and I probably would use a weaker developer. But since she wants to be more on the ashier side, we gotta lift her as light as possible. And then also, I know this client, she's been coming to me for a few years. So I know she's like the type of client who likes to come in and get her hair done just like once in a while, like maybe once or twice a year she'll come in. So she's more so of a low maintenance client. And that's really good to know that about your clients, whether they're someone who wants to come in every 3 or 4 months, or if they're someone that wants to come in like once or twice a year. And so since this client wants to come in and see me more on the low maintenance side, which is totally fine, I want to make sure that I lift her as light as possible so that this color fades pretty and she doesn't feel the need to come in for a toner and that it's too brassy when this color fades out. So essentially, the lighter that she gets today, our goal, I would love her to be like a level 9. So that the color that we do on her can fade out really pretty, and maybe she could just like maintain the color with like a little purple shampoo here and there at home. But she looks good with warm and ashy tones, so I have a feeling that even though this toner is going to wash out, she's going to look more blonde and it might be on the warmer side. I feel like she's still going to really like it because I feel like those tones will look good against her skin tone as well. So now that I've reached closer to the front, I always flip them around and I start doing their money piece. So since we're working with hair that doesn't have any highlights, I am just doing a few slices back to back with no negative space so that she feels like she has a lighter front area. And then I'm going to continue going back and doing my regular slicing with a bit of negative space in between to kind of give her that nice blend so that her color isn't completely solid. But anyways, going back to what I was saying earlier is whenever a client comes in and asks for a certain color or it's a color they've never done before, I always talk them through with the aftercare and what they're looking at as far as how it fades and the maintenance, and if there's someone that can keep up with it or everything sounds good, like the fade of it and maintenance sounds good to them, then we're all good to go. But I always like to make sure that my clients know what they're getting into before we do any type of color so that they know what to expect, they know what to do to take care of it, and they know what to do to get the most out of their hair color as well. And you know, a lot of times I have clients that come in too that it's very common clients don't understand what happens what to the hair as it fades or like the maintenance of it, which is totally fine. That's why as a hairdresser, your hairdresser is there to help you out and figure out a game plan for you. So for me, majority of my clients will come in, they'll come in with an idea or a thought like, I want to do this color or this color, and ask me like, hey Lauren, what do you think will look good, or what do you think is best for my hair? And so I kind of play out the options and give them scenarios like, this is what's going to happen if you do this color and this color, which one would you prefer? And it's really good that I educate my clients and build this type of relationship with them because they're able to trust me, and we're able to create game plans for their hair so that they can get the most out of their hair color and also enjoy the fade of their hair as well, and love their hair until the next time they see me. So right now I'm at this section where I'm touching up the sides. So you remember in the back section I did a detail hairline weave around the nape, and then I pretty much took the center section. That's what you see, the foils that are on the left of what I'm foiling right now. So I'm pretty much connecting that front side section to those back foils in just one go. So essentially the head is pretty much divided up into 3 sections, major sections that I'm pretty much slicing. So once I do the sides here, I did 2 detail weaves around the hairline to connect the front, and then I did 1 weave above the ear, and now I'm going in and continuing the same slicing pattern that I did all the way from the back to the top. because this is going to give her the most amount of color. I'd rather do a slice than a weave, especially when we're going from a solid dark color to something a lot lighter. It just gives you a lot more impact and saves a lot of time. But in the future, if she feels like she wants to do something a little bit more blended for the roots, we could definitely do that with some weaving patterns. But by slicing, it just makes it really easy for me to retouch this next time and check where I left off. So here I'm pulling out her foils. I let her process to about a level 9 mostly, and some parts of it lifted to a level 8 and some parts lifted to a level 10, and this is pretty much how light she should be for the color that we're going to be doing, so that it lasts her a really long time and it also fades out really pretty for her. So now it's time for toning, and we are going to be going in with a demi-permanent color. So for her root shadow, I mixed up a demi-permanent formulation and I used a 6-0, which is a level 6 natural, and the natural in the line that I'm using is more on the ashy side, so this is going to help pretty much blur out the lines at the top. Since we did slices and basically any type of highlight, usually on dark hair, you can definitely see the stripiness if you don't do like a shadow root. So I will, like 99% of the time, do a shadow root on clients who are primarily darker, just to kind of blur out the lines of their toner. And then, so once we do the shadow root, I usually will do an inch of shadow root. I'm going now in with her lighter shade color. So for her lighter shade color, I'm going to be using a mixture of 7-8 and 8-2. So those mixtures, it's a level 7-8, which is a level 7 brown. The brown is more of a neutral brown in this line, and then for the other color that I mix it with is an 8-2, which is a level 8 violet. So mixing those two together, you technically get like a level 7.5. I like to apply this toner on the mid, and then I brush it down with my wet brush and apply only in the areas that need a little bit more toner. And as I'm toning, I'm making sure that I'm fully saturating, just keep brushing and working in the color. So what this color is going to create is a very neutral ashy brown for us, which essentially is the bronze tone. And you can see I've already left out her hairline money piece. I generally like to tone that part last once I start to see the mids and ends are really taking, because those hairs around the hairline are pretty fine and they do tone quite quickly. So I do like to tone those last and have those pieces a little bit lighter than darker and overtoned. And honestly, for me, toning is pretty visual. I always just check the toner and wash it off when I feel like it's ready. I would say I left her toner on for about like 10, maybe 15 minutes maximum, and then lightly shampooed her and conditioned her out. Alrighty guys, so here is the finished look. She was so happy with the results, and you can see what a transformation from having a completely solid dark hair color to something that is more medium and ashy brown. So as this fades out, she is going to get lighter. It is going to get a little bit more golden. You saw earlier how blonde she is underneath this toner. So having this toner, even though it is darker, lightening her to be so light is going to give her a really pretty fade. And when she's ready to come back in, she'll maybe need a toner in between her root touch-ups. She is pretty much a really low maintenance client, so I feel like she will love the way that it fades considering how light she got underneath, and I might just see her for a trim or something in between. Alrighty guys, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, and as always, I will talk to you guys next week.